marketing, entrepreneurship, and all things small business. You're listening to the Jurassic Marketing's Triceratops. Now, here's your host, Justin Miller.
All right, we're back for we got marketing again today. I got marketing on the brains.
It's kind of the theme of 2026 is marketing.
Well, it always is. So behind the scenes, like in the office over there, in the office suite, you know, I am doing a lot of marketing for us as well, which is somewhat abnormal.
Yeah.
That I'm personally involved on that, but we might have a solution with the guest today.
There you go. Yeah.
That's not the intent of the podcast, but I'm going to get free advice from our guest, and you all will benefit from that as well. So without further ado, welcome Amber Miller. She is our guest for this one, and her company is Smart to Finish, which I might ask you how we came up with that name too. That wasn't in my cheat sheet, but I'm curious. So Amber, welcome to the podcast. And
great to be here.
Let's jump in like right there. So we'll talk on, and some of the topics today are like done for you versus do-it-yourself marketing and fractional type help and things like that, just to give a little primer to the guest. But Smart to Finish, what does it mean to me when I hear it?
You know, it's funny. I was trying to do a play on words. This was, 21 years ago when I started. And it was like, A to Z, start to finish. And then I was like, wait, smart to finish. So it was actually an idea when I was brainstorming with my mom of all people. So yeah, here we are, 21 years later, smart to finish.
Well, I'm trying to think of all the things I haven't finished all the way and what that makes me in that case, but I guess we won't go there. All right, so your primary thing at Smart to Finish is you help growing businesses scale without hiring full-time staff, and we'll talk through that. This is appealing to me. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's appealing to businesses at different portions of their life cycle, but right now, and it seems like in business, every time you hurdle, you have a little chicken and the egg problem for each position that you're adding on. So I'm guessing you might be able to help with that. But talk a little through alternative to hiring full-time. So if I have a need for a particular group of tasks, and I do right now behind the scenes, by the way, we were at a job fair yesterday, and I'm evaluating whether or not to bring a person on full-time, what other alternates are out there in the world that we might not be familiar with, including your solution?
Yeah. So, we offer fractional support. So, a lot of times small businesses, even larger companies, it's, they're the bottleneck. Somebody in the company, the CEO or a sales manager, doesn't matter who it is, ends up being the bottleneck. So we come in and we can take some of that off their plate. The goal is that you're going to replace the time that we're giving you back with something that's going to drive the business forward, right? And in some cases, it's maybe you just need more time with your family, and that's okay too. But the goal is that we're taking some of that work that maybe they don't need to be doing, you don't need to be doing, and allowing us to take that on, create a system, and get you out of the way so that you're not the bottleneck anymore.
Yeah, so let's talk through that a little bit. So we'll go with like kind of owner, founder, CEO. So smaller company, small to small mid, but definitely small by like SBA standards. Let's talk about that. So owner or primary founder is in the weeds of doing something. What are some of the typical tasks that you see over and over that I don't want to say they shouldn't be, but are candidates for help?
Yeah. A lot of times it's the simple things, right? Like sometimes I think we overthink it. And so I'll be talking with, CEOs. I just had a conversation this week with one of our newer clients who's a CEO, and she's just in her own way. She's overthinking things. She's constantly creating a new process for something that doesn't need to be recreated. She's got the shiny object, what I call it the shiny object syndrome, right?
Yeah,
I think we all have that as entrepreneurs. You wake up at 3 a.m. with this great new membership idea or whatever it is. And so it's having kind of somebody that's going to say, hey, that's great. And let's finish, or let's get these other projects, in place and moving forward, and then we'll come back to that. So it's having someone that sometimes can see things maybe that you don't. So it's not just an assistant, but it's somebody that kind of is more in that operations kind of mindset that can help you systematize, put things in, processes, keep things moving forward, and eventually be able to take you out of that, so that you're no longer, halting progress.
I hear that loud and clear. It's like shots fired.
Yeah.
So I'm a visionary entrepreneur. I like the ideas, but I have enough of the systematic know-how that it gets me in trouble as well. 'Cause I'm like, I could do this, but there's finite hours.
Yeah.
I assume you have similar, Kevin, but
Yeah, sometimes you just step in to do things, and later you're like, wow, where'd all the time go? Or energy, or just frustration.
yeah, or something breaks and we want to come back and try and save it and fix it. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the best idea. So let's talk about specific in the marketing arena, because I've heard of fractional help in a few areas, and the common ones I hear over and over would be marketing and finance. I mean, those seem like the two largest that come after us to use that particular service. So that's my subset of data for that. But let's go in the marketing arena, because it's where I play. It's where you play a little bit too. So let's talk about when people start exploring these services, what they're going to find out there, because there's people that preach we'll handle everything for you, which probably is not true. There's people that are disguising a do-it-yourself solution as something that is being led. So talk through the arena and the terminology they're going to hear if they start exploring this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, honestly, it comes back to your particular business and what you're doing, right? So for some of our clients, they actually do somewhat end up bringing us into different areas of their business, whether it's managing their membership, helping them with their launches, whatever that is. But we kind of can fill very different areas. I think I always say, well, where is your most immediate need for help? What's going to get you closest to the money is where I always like to look, right? Like kind of like what you just said, something breaks, or I've spent 3 hours trying to get my automation set up. Like that's just a waste of your time. So we kind of look at where are you at right now, and where the last 30 days, where if we looked at your calendar, where has your time been going? And then we kind of put a plan together, starting kind of with the most obvious, right? And then we build upon that.
Yeah, and I guess differentiate this between me going on Fiverr or Upwork and looking for someone to solve a task, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs are familiar with those types of platforms first, and they start filling and outsourcing some stuff, and all of a sudden there's a bottleneck again, sending information between a bunch of disjointed contractors.
Well, I think that's it right there. So, and there's nothing wrong with that approach, depending on the type of work I think that you need help with, right? If you're looking more for somebody who's going to be more of that partner, helping you really look at systems, putting processes in place, having more of a stronger skill, I think that's when you need more of a fractional person. If it's just a repeatable task that you can easily delegate, I don't think there's anything wrong with going to Fiverr. But I think if you're looking for someone that's going to come in and actually help run things so that you can step out, I don't think you're going to find that in a task, just a task-based person, right? And again, nothing wrong with that. It's more or less, what do you need where you're at in your business? But if you're truly trying to get out of the way and have somebody be able to run things for you so that you can go on vacation, so that you can step out of the day-to-day, it's going to need to be more of somebody that can have the skill set to manage, take on a bit bigger of a responsibility and look a bit ahead instead of just in the day-to-day task base.
Yeah, which I think there might be some of those on the platforms, but they're going to be way harder to source via that method because they probably have found greener pastures for themselves if they actually really do have that skill set. So I'd say exercise a little care if you are looking for that on that platform. You have something you call the false productivity trap. Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of times we think we're responding to emails, we're getting newsletters out, we're productive, right? The problem is if we're doing that as the CEO, we're not doing what we should be doing to grow and scale the company. So just because we're busy, you know, I talk to entrepreneurs, oh, I'm busy, I'm moving the business forward. Tell me what that means to you. Well, I got a newsletter out this week, or, you know, I was able to get my inbox clean. And I'm like, but that's not bringing you closer to you know, the money, right? Like that's all great and all. But where we need, you know, CEOs and founders and business owners focused on is bringing in leads, having those sales conversations, being the visionary. All that day-to-day stuff needs to be handled by somebody else. So when we get out of that false trap of thinking, it really helps speed up execution. It reduces errors. It actually, you know, creates a container for growth instead of being stuck kind of in that spot that we think we're busy, but it's the wrong busy.
Yeah, I'm highlighting this one because I hadn't heard the term before, but we've talked about this, and you know, sometimes this is not exclusive to a CEO founder problem. This rolls down the organization as well.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And for me, being a smaller business owner with limited staff, I very easily go overboard and do too many things myself. And it's funny how, like, I just don't seem to learn that lesson. I don't know if I'm stubborn or if I just think that I know better, but I'm going to highlight
surrounded by the lesson, Kevin.
Yeah, well, live in the lesson, I guess.
But no, like this particular thing, this is a pet peeve of mine as well. So, you know, when a staff member is, quote, busy, but the results are not there, you know, it's, what are we busy with?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And sometimes we inadvertently created jobs that didn't need to exist, and it's hard to unravel that once it happens. Yeah. I think it's easier at the C level.
Or we do things, and we're doing them just because that's what we've always done, right? And so you're doing something just because it's habit, and so sometimes it takes somebody else coming in going, wait, why are you doing it this way? Like, does this make sense? So sometimes even just having kind of that other side to, like, okay, just because we've done it this way for years, like, is there a better way to do this? Is there a way to automate?
Yeah, it takes a level of self-awareness to be able to have that conversation too.
Yeah.
I'm good with it, but you mentioned automate. So, you know, I come from the marketing automation background, and I'd love to automate as much as possible. And I know there's a lot of errors and fallacies there. One you already kind of covered, which is, you know, what you should focus on is oftentimes we get marketing shiny object, and we build these amazing systems that, well, they weren't proven with, you know, any manual labor or any data first. But tell me a little about what you think should stay as a do-it-yourself DIY type solution, and what should be automated.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think if it comes to where you're finding that, this is what I always say to entrepreneurs, if you're in the stage where you're finding you're not getting back to leads, you're not able to follow up on conversations, balls are getting dropped with your current clients. Like, if you're finding that you are not keeping up with these biz development type things, and that you don't have a good control over your lead flow, your conversations, your clients, that's when you need to look at bringing in some type of help. You know, you've got to take care of your current clients, and you've got to have more leads coming in. So, you know, when you start finding that you're spending too much time on everything else, that's when it's time to look at, okay, how can I get help? How can I automate maybe some of the client onboarding processes? Who can help me build this? What's my lead flow? Like, you know, am I following? Like, I just had a conversation this week with a brilliant businesswoman, and we dove in looking at her leads and her follow-up. And after 1 or 2 emails, they're falling off the face of the earth. And so we looked at so much lost potential and revenue because there wasn't a clear follow-up process after, you know, a week. And they felt, oh, we built this automation. And you know, a lot of the leads were like, contact me in a month. There was no follow-up built to circle back to follow-up in a month. So we like to help come in and automate even some of that and help, you know, our clients at least fix their lead and their onboarding automations.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much room for the Post-it notes on the desk, right?
Right? I mean, we're human, right? We just can't keep all of that, in our memory. It's just not possible.
My favorite is the Windows yellow Post-it note that's actually built into Windows. I'm like, we defeated the purpose of the computer. It's terrible. All right, let's tie this back to money a little because we have to. So, how we find the bottleneck or we realize that we are the bottleneck, and we have some candidates of tasks that we think we probably shouldn't be doing, and we buy into the fact that someone else probably could do them, might even be able to do them better. How do we justify that expense, or how do we compare it to the cost of inaction?
Yeah, I think that's always a tough thing to look at. And what I always say is we need to look at this as not an expense, but a necessity at some point. Now, that said, I understand that a lot of small business owners have budgets. And so I always like to say, let's start with a budget. Let's start with something that you're comfortable with, and let's see what we can automate, what we can take off your plate within that budget that they're comfortable with. But I think it's shifting the mindset from this is an expense to this is a necessity to help me get out of my own way and grow. And what I also encourage is you've got to also take the initiative to use back the time that we're giving you productively, right? So if you're still going to sit on Facebook, which no judgment, but if you're still going to scroll on Instagram and you're still going to, fill that time back up with other things, that I can't help with. I can encourage and I can recommend, and we can plan what we're going to what you should do with that time. But it's really looking at it as, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to continue to drop the ball. You're going to continue to have decision fatigue, right? I mean, there's only so many things that you can decide to do. Missed follow-ups, team confusion, right? Like there's all these things that come into place when we don't have someone that's kind of driving the operations for us.
Yeah, and I could even take the argument one step further that if we were doing that and actually looking at it as an expense, contrary to your advice, and just taking that time back personally. So if there was enough money to do that, but I think if you do that and you take the time back personally, you're going to actually get better productivity during the hours you're working. So I could make the argument that even if you're looking at it as an expense, it's completely worthwhile.
No, I would agree.
I had a good run of, a year and a half there, taking Tuesdays and Thursdays off and working 20 hours a week. It was great. Yeah.
Till it wasn't.
Could I have got more done being in the office? Yeah. Do I care? No. But it was a deliberate choice, and there was expense associated with that because the business has to go on, and there's people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about marketing support teams. How do we evaluate good from bad, or are they all the same?
Yeah. They're not all the same. They're not. Trust me. I think part of it, I always say, talk to those that they've worked with. Right? Like, a lot of times I hear, well, there's false reviews and, people can make up testimonials, like the age of AI, right? Like we've become kind of jaded, I think, in what we believe is true feedback or reviews. But I always say, talk to a few of their customers that they've worked with or their clients, and you should be able to ask for that. And if they have any resistance on wanting to give any of that, information out, that I might question that. But talk to those who've worked with them. Ask them, a set of questions, that, have them kind of validate for you. We've also had clients who've said, hey, let's try this for a month. And I think that's fair, right? Like, let's give this a try. Let's try a few projects and see if we're a good fit. Because personality does come into play, and work styles, right? So, two different companies can work with somebody completely differently depending on their skill set, their personality. So try them, I think, is really the only way to know, to be honest. And talk to previous customers or current customers.
Yeah, get the feedback. Refer back to the podcast episode on hiring marketing agencies.
Yeah, not all the same.
And I would say treat it the same way as you would an actual in-house hire.
Exactly.
Because it's just as important at the end of the day, regardless as if the cost is the same or different. That's irrelevant. The impact of the business is just as much. All right, we got the lightning round questions.
Oh, here we go. Lightning round.
We still don't have a sound effect.
I know. I got to find a better one. The one I found was pretty awful, so I didn't even put it in.
Actually, before I go to the lightning round, you have a neon sign behind you. I cannot read. What does it say?
Okay. So it says Delegation Diva.
Ah.
There we go.
Yes.
And if you're listening to the audio podcast instead of the video podcast, shame on you. Switch over to the video one. You can see the beautiful sign. It's better than ours. Is just a TV. She's got real letters.
That's true. It probably lights up too.
It does.
It is. I can tell.
And I can't find the remote. So, right? That's the only
But the pink is good. You can see the pink, and it looks.
I thought it was lit.
Yeah, see, it almost looks lit up on Zoom, so you're good there. You could have said it is lit up, and we would have known.
Fooled me. It does. Then you can tell it's not a virtual background. That's what's good.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So she has a beautiful set. I'm somewhat envious, but she does not have dinosaurs and plants and ferns.
Who does, really?
No.
This is it. All right. So lightning round. Tool you can't live without.
Oh. It's not necessarily a tool, but it's a feature inside of Gmail. And it was when I came across the snooze button, I felt like my whole life changed. I don't know if it's just me, but
Only if you team it up with the delayed send feature as well.
Combo.
I'm working, but I'm not really
snooze
working.
has saved my life. It has brought things back to my attention that I might have forgotten. So I love that feature.
So does that make you an inbox zero type of person? Like nothing in the inbox that's not being dealt
I
with?
would love to say I have inbox zero. I do not. I do not. You know what? I just had this conversation with a client the other day, and we decided it wasn't for her. I think it is for some, and it's not for others. For her, she can't have things out of sight, out of mind, and I'm kind of the same way.
I just prefer them to be out of both. I'm going to delegate everything.
So you're going to get mad if you look at my...
Yes, I am.
I mean, notice the business emails have 3 or 9, but my personal email has 6,400 unopened emails. Most of those are lists that I'm subscribed to, but yeah.
Okay, so then you got to create a rule with some folders, right? And yeah.
I'm going to have to call you, I think.
I think you just need delete all, start fresh.
Start over.
There you go. Just archive it all.
That's right.
Clear it all out.
It's like when there's a staff departure, we get a chance to clear out the digital clutter
That's
as well.
True. Yeah.
All right. Quote or motto?
I've got a few. I think Henry Ford said it. And now I'm drawing a blank. What is it? I've got a, but yeah, you put me on the spot. My whole wall is full of quotes. So I can't think of it. There we go. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
That really is a good one. I mean, that really is. If you think about it, it's pretty succinct and it's 100% true.
I like the Henry Ford. You can have any color you want as long as it's black.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, no, you would appreciate that one. Yeah, keep it simple.
What about book? A book or audio book or podcast? Something in the business world. Don't say this one. We know we only have 10 listeners.
No, that's not true.
Oh gosh, you know what? I was just having this conversation this morning. I am a book nerd. I buy every single book. My accountant actually said, "Hey, yeah, you've got a lot of money spent on books." I love business books. I will buy anything that I think is going to give me some type of insight to be a better business owner, a better leader. So I don't necessarily have a favorite. I'm big in learning and digesting, and so I think it's important that we make time in our schedule every month to listen to podcasts and read.
I'm starting to get to the pile of books that are not going to get read, so I acquire them quickly as well. It's pretty easy with the one click these days.
It is.
Someone mentions it while you're listening to something, like, all right, doop, doop.
I find, I don't know, Amber, how much you travel. Do you find if you're in an airport, I will kill time before my flight and I'll buy a book, but then I won't read it on the flight. I'll read it like 6 months later when I'm like, I should move it from my desk to my wall. And I'm like, I never even opened that. I'm probably not on the same level that you are, or my accountant's not like, what are you doing? But I probably have 100 books that I've purchased that I still haven't read.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel smarter?
Like, I'll just
I feel dumb for doing that. I'm like, I think how much money I could have if I hadn't bought all these books. Then I think someday I'll read them and I'll get smarter.
Just donate them and feel good about that.
After
I went through the library eventually. I realized that book people can't do this. I eventually did it. I'm like, they got to go. And then I'll get new ones. It's full again. But I don't have a problem clearing them out. All right, Amber, if people want to learn more about you, learn more about Smart to Finish, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, just go to smart2finish.com. And we'd be happy to schedule a call and just, no obligation chat. I love just chatting with business owners and getting to know them and what they're doing and see if, there's anything that I can tell them right away that, hey, here's what you're doing that we could help with. And we may not, but happy to have those conversations.
Excellent. All right, Smart to Finish. You heard it. Amber's there to help you. They'll meet with you?
Yes.
See, she's so nice.
I know.
Yep.
She'll even turn the neon sign on for you if you do a Zoom call.
I'll find the remote and I will turn on the light.
It's the background in the special event world. I can't get away from it.
That's true.
It's got to have the lighting and the overproduced studio here. All right, we have a slew of guests coming up, Kevin.
We do. It is
a lot. I can't even get to the list. So
there's a whole bunch.
You have heeded our call to bring in unique content, which means one of two things. Either everyone has amazing things to say and they want to be guests, or you and I are doing a poor job and they're tired of hearing from us.
I'm not even going to venture a guess.
I guess we'll find out next week.
We will. That's true. Exactly.
All right, we're going to close this one out. And hey, subscribe, share. We look at the numbers. We know if you guys do or not. We like to see them go up.
And then we laugh like that, usually. That's kind of like, oh, yeah, okay.
They watch the snippets on the TikToks, and then they don't have the attention span for the long form version. But either way, they're seeing it.
Thanks for listening to the Triceratops podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments. For more information on how Jurassic Marketing Direct Mail can help grow your business, visit JurassicMarketing.com.